Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar hosts, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, and Bogman. On Deck podcast is sponsored by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the On Deck DFS podcast brought to you by LineStar. Check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and LineStar MLB, Apple App Store, Google Play App Store, all of that awesome stuff. And we're here to break down your Friday 14-game slate. You can find me, Bubba, on Twitter at BDentric, and the co-host on this, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports, Scott Bogman. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. 14 games, lots of action we've got going on here. So, there's a lot of good cheap options to find in this one. So yes. I like it.
Yes, lots of ways to go on this slate, which is always fun. Weather could be interesting. Totals are a little friendly on some. We won't spend too much rehashing Thursday's action because we have 14 games, but we did see Patrick Corbin continues to be broken. That's great. No aces really did ace things once again, like 2021 all over again. Any major takeaways from you? Your Diamondbacks scored a ton of runs. That's good.
Yeah, I think the major takeaways for me was I finally got that second home run call. Vladito hit a bomb in the 7th of the Blue Jays game against the Royals. The Royals still wound up winning 7-5. So, lots of runs scored today. And those frontline pitchers weren't so frontline. So, even the Padres were dropping some runs. The Pirates, we thought maybe Paddock was going to be rough again. He was okay. So, but the Braves and Marlins was 7-6. Dodgers and Rockies scored a ton of runs. It was a hitting day. It wasn't really a pitching day.
No doubt about it. But I think the beautiful thing about 14-game slates, we'll get some hitting and we'll get some pitching. It's just which ones do we get first? So there's a little bit of everything in these slates, tons and tons of fun when we break it all down, but we'll just go right into it, Bogman. 14-game slate. We'll kick it off St. Louis at Philadelphia. Carlos Martinez, Zach Eflin, total 8.5 on this one. Carmart 77 on DK. He has a wonderful 62 on FanDuel. Eflin 85 on FanDuel and a wonderful 86 on DK. For me, Eflin is in play if you in tournaments. Carlos Martinez, I am stacking up against. What's your thoughts on these pitchers?
Yeah, it's going to be a no from me, dog, on either one of these pitchers. So Eflin is okay. If I had to pick one, I would take him over Martinez, but I don't want either one of them. No thanks.
Yeah, it's only if you're getting weird in a tournament, you're trying to make ownership leverages. I don't cross Eflin off the list, but he's not one of my main targets, that's for sure. With that being said, I want to stack against Carmart as often as I possibly can. What are you seeing on this one?
I mean, Bryce Harper, 2 for 7 off of Martinez with 2 bombs. So it seems like if he hits it against Martinez, it goes over the fence. So I like that. He's at 5,200 and 4,200. Gene Segura, 4,000, 2,400. He is hitting a cool 333, 5 for 15 against Martinez in his career. I also kind of like some of these prices. Tommy Edman is 2,900 on FanDuel, 5,100 on DK. Reese Hoskins, 4,700, 3,700. Didi, 4,400 and 3,100. Those are the buys that I like in this game.
Yeah, the last one, I love the Phillies side. Reese, Didi, Harper, and then Baum's 39 on DK and 28 on FanDuel. So I like that quite a bit. You mentioned Segura. He hit his first home run the other day. He's still very affordable too. So don't mind going that way at all when we're breaking this slate down. But let's head to the nation's capital, Arizona at Washington. We have Tyler Widener against Max Scherzner, over under 8.5. I know last time we talked, you said Widener is better than people give him credit for. He's cheap. Scherzer's 10-4 on DK. He's 10-4 on FanDuel. A little bit of the long ball last time, but still getting strikeouts. Are you in on Scherzer, or are you just not paying the price tonight?
For Scherzer, I think I'm probably not going to pay the price. Maybe in a couple of cash games, but if you want to pay up for a pitcher on this slate, you pay up for DeGrom, especially with the D-backs starting to hit finally. And look, I'm no contrarian in me says to go get Taylor Widener at any point. I like him as a D-backs fan, but I'm not going to tell people to spend their money on Taylor Widener. I can't do it with a straight face. So maybe Scherzer in a couple lineups, but if I'm going to pay up for a pitcher today, it's going to be DeGrom.
Yeah, I'm already kind of leaning not paying up for pitching to begin with, and if I am, I'm not paying for Scherzer. May come to bite me in the butt because we've seen him do things at times, but I still think there's too many runs getting scored, too much hard hit on him that makes it a little dicey. You said you're not really interested in Widener at all. Are you interested in any bats in this game?
Yeah, it's funny because there's some PVB data. David Peralta, 5 for 16 in his career off of Scherzer with 2 doubles and 2 homers. So 4 of his 5 hits have been for extra bases against Scherzer. He's 3,300, 2,700. So a decent kind of contrarian, cheap outfield play if you're looking for one. But Juan Soto, paying up for Soto, it makes a lot of sense. 6,000, 4,300. Trey Turner, 5,800, 4,000. We mentioned yesterday how the D-backs kind of let some stolen bases go by. If you want to look for some cheap options here, I think LaCastro will be back in the lineup, 3,200, 2,400. And Josh Van Meter could potentially play second. He didn't come out of the game or anything, but Eduardo Escobar landed hard on his shoulder, making a play at second. So I think maybe, Van Meter being a lefty, Scherzer being a righty, Escobar getting a little bit banged up, that maybe they go ahead and play Van Meter tomorrow, and he is super cheap at 2,700 and 2,000, almost a free square.
Yeah, I'm not looking for bats too much. I'm not really stacking up Arizona, Washington, but I like the values of Josh Bell and Josh Harrison. If you're going that route, they're hitting in the middle of the order. Harrison went deep on Thursday. Bell's hit safely in pretty much every game since he's returned. So he's playing well in the middle of that order, but I'm not looking to go all in. That's for sure. There's a few other spots I like to do that with. One of them could be in this next game. Tampa Bay at the New York Yankees. We do not have a total in this game. FanDuel does not have any pitchers in this game because we're trying to figure it out. But DK has Michael King for the Yankees against Michael Wacha for Tampa Bay. If this is the case, Bogman.
My favorite pitcher is TBD.
Yes, your favorite one. I love the Yankees bats tonight. Tampa Bay is intriguing, but what are you seeing on this one that interests you?
Wasn't there a little weather in this game too? This is
about 25% chances of rain or so. Yeah.
Okay, a little chance of rain, but yeah, man, it's Bats City. I'm not paying up for King or Wacha. Pass. It would have to be different pitchers if I were going to pay for pitching in this game. But now LeMahieu is, if they are going to be playing against Wacha, 6 for 13 in his career with 3 doubles, 5,000, 3,500. Stanton, 4,700, 3,400. He's 2 for 7 with 2 doubles against King or against Wacha as well. But then it's just bats. It's Judge, Rosario, Lowe, Meadows, Torres, Gio Urshela. Like you said, this is a prime pitching matchup with 2 nice lineups here. So I could see stacking either side of this game.
Yeah, this is one where I really like the value in this game. You could obviously play the big guys. I'm not going to argue that at all. But like you have Aaron Hicks, he's 36 on DK, he's 28 on FanDuel, hitting in the middle of that order. Love that. Gary Sanchez only 27 on FanDuel. That's pretty nice. But like Manny Margot's 31 on DK, 27 on FanDuel. He had a big game on Thursday. We know what he can do once he gets clicking. You got the cheapies. Gleyber Torres is 26. Like the Yankees are cheap on FanDuel. It's crazy. Not so much on DK, but he's only 43 on DK. But like if you're in a tournament and you want to be really, really different, short porch in right field against Michael Wacha, you get Rougned Odor for $2,900 on DK and $2,400 on FanDuel. I think that is an angle if you want to get really weird, because in a tournament, all you want is a home run. You don't care about going 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a run score. You want the long ball. That's all Rugi's going to do. And Jay Bruce at the same time is 32 and 23. So Bruce and Odor are 2 super cheap Yankees in a very intriguing matchup. That if you want to go for the gusto, the boom or bust, I like them quite a bit in that situation.
I like it.
All right. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Logan Allen, Jeff Hoffman, total of 9. We're at Great American Small Park. This is one of those spots. I told you I have spots I like to target. This is one of them. One caveat, no DH, so you might not get Franmil Reyes, or you might have to play the outfield, which is always entertaining. First off, do you like either pitchers in this game?
It's for whatever reason I forgot to put this on my sheet. Hoffman versus Allen.
Yeah.
Pass. No thanks.
Yeah, this is a great spot for bats. On DK, the Reds are pricey, which makes me almost like them more because people are going to go, if I have to pay up, I'll go pay for Rockies or something like this. No, this intrigues me now. So I think the Reds are very, very live. And more importantly, Cleveland's affordable today. So what do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple bats here that I like. It's Castellanos. You can play at any point, 5,500. Suarez at 5,100 is a pretty good one. Eddie Rosario, you've mentioned a couple times, and I feel like you probably needed to say him before me because every time you mention
him. I love
he
him.
goes off.
He's too cheap.
India's hitting low in the lineup, but cheap at 3,800. And if we can get Naquin back in the lineup, I'd like to see him back out there. So those are the guys that I like for this one.
Yeah, Rosario's 3K on FanDuel, 43 on DK. I'm there. J Ram's 32 on FanDuel, 49 on DK. 49 on DK is like the 6th or 7th highest priced third baseman. So he's kind of lost in the shuffle compared to usual. I mentioned some Reds are pricey. Suarez is 51 on DK. I don't think anybody's going to want to pay that price, which makes me like him more. So keep that in mind. I love India's price tag on both sides. You get definitely a discount there. And then Senzel is still really, really cheap. So if Senzel cracks the lineup, keep him on your radar. But I like this game. See how the lineup comes out. You might be able to get some nice stacking involved here and really enjoy some Great American Small Park. We haven't got to enjoy that yet this year. And I'm always a fan of just watching balls leave a park that should never, ever leave a ballpark. And I like when it's on the same slate as Coors because it's a nice leverage situation.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's a good call.
Something to keep in mind there. All right, San Francisco Gigantes at the Miami Marlins. DeSclafani versus the lefty Castano. Over under 8.5 on this one. I'll be honest, Desclo, he's 82 on FanDuel. He's 81 on DK. He intrigues me as a potential SP2 if you need him, just because I think he has a decent floor in this matchup. But the Miami bats are live. They've been very, very live right now. So what do you like in this game?
Yeah, I kind of like you calling out DeSclafani here because there's not a lot as far as secondary pitchers go, So not a lot that I like anyway. So I kind of like him. Don't want any part of Castano, but some PVB data here. Dickerson 4 for 12 against DeSclafani with 3 extra base hits, 2 homers and a double. Jesus Aguilar 4 for 11 with a bomb off of him. But I like I like Evan Longoria in this matchup against a lefty. 4,700, 3,000 on DK. Posey 4,600, 2,500 on FanDuel. Donovan Solano 4,300 and 2,500. Jazz Chisholm has been hot. His price has increased a little bit, 3,900, 2,900, and Adam Duvall at 3,800 or 3,000 on FanDuel is a decent matchup with the way he's been hitting as well.
Yeah, I love the Chisholm call. I think that's a nice value, even a little bit of cash game appeal as well with Chisholm. So I don't mind going that direction. If Austin Slater cracks the lineup in the leadoff spot, he's a decent value as well for the Giants. So I like the Longo call. They've been hitting lefties extremely well, so kind of ride that while you can if you want. It's just on like Darren Ruff is always a GPP play facing a lefty. It's just tough on a slate of this magnitude with some spots that are much, much better than the Giants in pitcher-friendly Miami. It's tough to circle that one, but if you're playing a lot of lineups, I wouldn't ignore it either. White Sox at Boston Red Sox, 50 to 60% chances of rain in this one, which is frustrating. We don't have a line yet in this one either. Currently, it looks like it's Nick Pavetta versus Dylan Cease. We don't have a line because Dylan Cease was on the COVID IL. It was announced Thursday. He's already cleared. He's pitching Friday. Like, he was just one of those symptom things. He's fine. Things are good there. I will say this much. Pavetta is 66 on DK, and he is 81 on FanDuel. But Cease is 63 on both. On FanDuel, I say no. On DK, he has my full attention.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to like pitchers that get pushed back for the White Sox recently, right? I mean,
that's one way to look at it, yes.
Yeah, if we're marking down weird trends, that's one of them. But yeah, I think even in a normal situation, I'd like him. I think I am, for the most part, going to avoid this game, even though, like you said, I do like a lot of the bats in this game, and Cease is a decent buy. I'm just really afraid of the rain. If it's 50 to 60%, that's rough. We've seen games. You mentioned it on Twitter before, Bub, that about some of these games getting called 5 minutes after first pitch or 5 minutes before first pitch, that they're just flat out postponed. We're not bringing the tarp out. We're not waiting on anything, which is a little strange. I guess if you're going to call those games early in the season, makes sense because you have a lot of time to make them up, but still it's a little weird. So I'm probably going to avoid this game for that reason, but I do like a lot of pieces here. Adam Eaton at 4,100, 3,600, 5 for 11 in his career off of Pavetta. So a pretty decent matchup there. But, JD Martinez is expensive, but you can pay up for him at 61 and 41. Jose Abreu at 3,300 for whatever reason on DK or FanDuel, excuse me, is a little crazy. 5,500 on DK for him. Devers is hot, 5,300, 3,800. Tim Anderson just back in the lineup. Bogarts, Yerman. There's a lot of good hot bats in this game, which is why it's so frustrating with the rain. So unless we get a report that, the rain was early or it's going to be late or something, I might just skip this one.
Yeah, if it's questionable, it's tough because also, like you said, it's early in the season, so they can reschedule. It's also game one of a 3-game series. They could easily do a doubleheader Saturday or Sunday. So they're not as like, if it was a Sunday afternoon, I'd be like, they might actually think about this one a little bit longer. But it'll be interesting to watch if weather changes. I'm intrigued. I just wanted to mention Cease because he's very tilting. I talk about it all the time, but his stuff is some of the best stuff out there. He's electric. He just has no command. So he walks too many guys. His pitch count gets high, but he can strike a lot of guys out. And at his price point, he doesn't have to be perfect. He can give up 3 or 4 runs, but strike out 6 guys and still pay it off on DraftKings. So, and it allows you to pay up for bats or pay up for a DeGrom or something. It gives you so much leverage because when you're paying for a cheap pitcher, as one of like a 2-second strategy conversation, when you're paying for a cheap pitcher, you want the ceiling. And Dylan Cease has a ceiling higher than most guys on this slate. We've seen him go 30-plus DK points. He also has a floor that has a hole in it that goes into another floor. So it gets very, very dangerous with Dylan Cease. But he's $6,300, and that's kind of baked into the price. So don't just cross him off, is what I'm trying to say. I think there's some actual leverage to that. If the game plays, though, that's the crafty part. So we'll see how that goes. Next one up here, Baltimore at Texas. This is an interesting one. Jorge Lopez against Mike Fultonevich, over under 8.5, which I actually thought was kind of low, to be honest, between these two. I'm not looking at any pitching here. Are you targeting any of the pitchers?
No. I mean, maybe Lopez if you want to go against Texas. Been a little quiet recently, but nah, I don't think so.
All righty, then let's get at it. The bats are. This is one where I'm like, I want to stack the bats, but I'm also kind of scared to stack the bats because both these teams can let us down. And the total's only 8.5. So does the Big Desert place know something that I don't know?
No,
what do you like?
I do like Maikel Franco if he gets in here. 8 for 27 with 2 bombs in his career off of Fulte. So we obviously like that. Then you can pay up here. Mancini low, Gallo I really like in this one. 4,400, 3,100. Cedric Mullins 4,200, 3,500 is a nice one. Santander still cheap, 4,000, 3,000. So I think there's some decent bats you can pay for here.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of the ones I don't mind paying for. A couple others that I think if you want some discounts, DJ Stewart's batting second, very cheap on both sides, 31 and 29. So I like that. Nick Solak went deep again on Thursday. He's only 27 on FanDuel, and he's still very affordable on DK at the wonderful low price of $4,400. So that's a couple other guys. I think there is a lot of interest in this game, especially from a values perspective. You can have some fun for sure. All right, Pittsburgh Pirates at the Milwaukee Brewers. Another interesting one here. No total on this one. Oh, no, there is. Brubaker versus Hauser. Totals 8.5. I'll say it honestly, if you want to use Brubaker as an SP2 with the swing and miss Milwaukee brings, I can see it. Yeah. Not in love with it, but I can see it because they strike out way too much. You like any pitchers, or are you all bats in this game?
No, I like Brubaker too. I think that's a good call. He's given up 1 run in both of his previous 2 starts. The first one was only 4 innings. The second one was 5 1/3. So they did extend him a little bit in the second. Maybe in the third, he gets a little more of a longer leash, especially if he is pitching as well as he has in those first 2 games. So, yeah, I think Brubaker is a nice SP2 as well.
All right. Any bats in this one? Because you can get a lot of affordable Pirates bats, especially.
Yeah, and Hauser's been a little rough as of recent too. So Colin Moran is hitting hot right now, 3,500, 2,800. He is 6 for 9 in his career off of Hauser, 667 average with a bomb. So gotta love him. Brian Reynolds at 3,000, 2,700 is 50%, 3 for 6 off of Hauser in his career. Kevin Newman 2 for 7 with a bomb as well against Hauser. The on the other side, Travis Shaw 4,100, 3,000. I like his price since he's been hot. Avisal Garcia has been good recently, 3,800, 3,100. And Phillip Evans, I mean, the guy just keeps hitting, replacing for Key Brian Hayes, 3,600, 3,000 for him. Adam Frazier, 3,500, 3,100. I think there's some decent buys in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm not saying run to stack Pittsburgh, but you can get a nice 3-man stack, super affordable, that allows you to do so much. Moran's affordable, Evans, Frazier, they're all hitting the ball very well. And there's other pieces, like you can mix and match parts of Pittsburgh. It's really crazy. It reminds me of kind of the Detroit Miami stacks over the last few days. In this Pittsburgh game, they could probably put up 5 or 6 runs and no one would be shocked, and that would pay off big time in a tournament. I love the Travis Shaw call. Ride him while he's hot. Avisel Garcia is swinging it decently too. Not a game I'm looking to go all in on, but definitely a couple pieces here and there that you can have some fun with for sure. Toronto at Kansas City. Steven Matz, Mike Minor, over under 8.5, 50% chances of rain. I'm almost a complete fade here, but Minor's pitching. But what do you got on this one?
Yeah, like I kind of want to play guys in this game, but that 50% chance of rain once again bothers me. When are we going to start? Like, do you think in the next 10 years it's going to be, hey, if you make a baseball stadium, you have to have a roof on it?
It has to. It should not be approved. Like we've said it before. I think on this show, other shows we've done together. The fact Target Field does not have a retractable roof in Minnesota, where it's like 30 degrees or less in the start of the season, is criminal.
Yeah, it's just a bit much, I mean, they're playing the hardest sport, football, in a dome there. So let's get a dome for the baseball players. Let's go. What are you thinking? So, I do like a lot of bats here, which is unfortunate with the potential of this rain. And I kind of like Mats against the Royals too. But the rain is going to scare me away. But Bichette is so super hot. Merrifield's hot. Vlad Jr. just hit a homer yesterday. Marcus Semien, Biggio got hurt, but I like Grichuk's price at 3,800, 3,300. Dozier's been back in the lineup at 2,300 on FanDuel. So, if we hear any report of the rain moving through quickly or whatever, I like that. But once again, hard to pick a Friday game that has a over 50% chance of rain to actually get played. So, it kind of puts us in a tough spot.
Yeah, it definitely does. If weather looks better, I'm with you on Mats. He's kind of the high price guy I go to. I'll fade the really high price guys and go to him, get the leverage that way. I think that's very intriguing. And I love the Toronto bats you mentioned, especially cheap on DK. Kirk at catcher, he's like 2,500. I'm a huge fan of that. If you are fading Mats, Hunter Dozier, I think slowly starting to heat up to go with your Whit Merrifields. But I like the Toronto side of the bats. I like Steven Matz. Be careful about the weather. That's the best way I can put it for you. New York, Colorado, Coors Field. Thanks to that rain out on Thursday for the Mets, Jacob deGrom now gets to pitch in Coors Field instead of at home. That's fun. But he's $11,000 in Coors. I honestly don't remember a pitcher being that expensive. He's $11,000 on both sites. Chichi Gonzalez in their hand. I don't care how expensive he is. The Mets.
Stack the Mets, meet the Mets, stack the Mets, do that, all the stuff. I don't care what his price is. Look, we've seen Bauer be dominant there. This Rockies team, they put it to the Dodgers pitchers last night. So I think they're all run out, Bub. I think that DeGrom is going to come in. It's a bit of a contrarian play because people don't like to play pitchers in Coors. And you get Jacob deGrom. You do have to pay. I understand that, but I'm willing to pay on this slate since it's so brutal. And the secondary guys that we like in Mats and Cease kind of have some rain issues. So, I guess Brubaker can be thrown in there too if you want. But for me, it's gonna be deGrom and all the Mets bats.
Yeah, I won't argue anybody taking deGrom. It's just know the risk you get into. But you hit it. You made a good point. It might be the lowest owned you'll ever get him. So that's something to think about as well. And the only thing I won't mention all the Mets bats as well, but you can get Brandon Nemo, who's literally a double-digit point machine already. Now he's going to Coors at 4,100 leading off. That needs to be like on DK. He's 39 on FanDuel. He needs to be in almost every lineup you make just for what he can do alone. At least that's my opinion. I think he's just ridiculously locked-in play tonight. Minnesota at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. No total on this one, as we are waiting to iron things out, as we're waiting for Minnesota's pitcher. We got Andrew Heaney. It looks like Minnesota's calling up, I believe it's Lewis Thorpe, one of their young pitchers. I'm not going to go looking to play Lewis Thorpe. I don't know how stretched out Lewis Thorpe is. Andrew Heaney, I never get right. So Heaney's 68. He's 68 on DK. He's 79 on FanDuel. Do you have interest in Andrew Heaney?
No, not really. It's going to be a pass for me. I do like some Minnesota bats. I like Donaldson at 4,200, 3,000, 2 for 5 with a bomb off of Heaney in his career, and Nelson Cruz 5 for 17, hitting 294 with 3 homers off of Heaney. That's got to be frustrating for Heaney. So yeah, it's going to be mainly Minnesota bats for me here. I like Kepler as well. I like Sano. But on the other side, you can never go wrong with Trout. I don't think I'm going to pay for. I think I'd rather pay for Ohtani at 4,600 and 4,200, and then Pujols could be in this lineup tonight, 3,100, 2,500 as well. I think is a decent buy.
Yeah, I keep going to Ohtani. If they keep pricing him cheaper than like Jared Walsh, who I like, I'll keep playing Ohtani. Like, it's crazy. He's hitting right in front of Trout. He's playing great. Overall, I'm not like in love with this game. I don't mind like an Ohtani or a Trout one-off, a Cruz one-off, but I'm not looking to go all in on this game at this point in time. 3 more games to go here. Detroit Tigers at the Oakland Athletics. Jose Urena, Frankie Montas, total 8.5. I'm avoiding the pitchers, but I like the Oakland bats. What about you?
Yeah, I guess if you want to play Montas, I'm not gonna despise it, right? Because he could get right, and he could definitely get right against Detroit. But from what we've seen so far, he ain't right. So probably not going to do it. It's going to be mainly bats in this game. Matt Olson at 3,100 on FanDuel is almost an auto buy.
Yeah, that's great.
4,100 and 4,400, 3,100. Mark Canha, Jed Lowry. On the Tiger side, I'll go with Candelario, 3,800, 2,900, and Akil Baddoo at 3,700, 3,400. I think these are decent buys as well.
Yeah, the Detroit options are still nice, interesting buys. Love the Lowry Olson left-handed combos. You just attack Urena with lefties. That's been a proven tradition time and time again. But if you want to mix in your Laureanos and those guys too, go for it. I always like finding some late night hammers because most guys like to play early games so they can watch them before they go to bed. Get your late night action. You'll get some lower ownership on Oakland. Dodgers at San Diego. This is must-see TV if you're just a baseball fan. Should be an absolute blast. You have Ryan Weathers starting and Walker Buehler. The over-under on this one's 8. I'm honestly, I know you can make angles for this game. You can say play this, play this. Tatis might be back, which I think is insane. I just want to sit back and watch this game. I don't think I'm having any shares of anything in this game.
I might have some bats in this game. I might have some Dodgers bats in particular. Although I do like Weathers. I went and saw him in spring training, and he looked really good. So I'd like him a little bit, but I'm not going to get. There's not going to be too many times where I start a pitcher against the Dodgers this year. Their lineup is just too stacked. So, Corey Seager at 56 and 39. Turner is hot, 5,200, 4,000. Muncy at 5 and 36. Pollock at 32 and 24 is a nice total, but are nice prices. On the San Diego side, Hosmer 5,100, 3,500. Manny Machado's a little cheaper in this game at 4,800, 3,600. Jake Cronenworth at 3,700, 3,300. I think is a decent one. And real cheap, Tommy Pham, 2,700, 2,600.
Yeah, Pham's super cheap. I don't mind the Cronenworth. If you want to keep seeing if Grisham can stay hot, he's pricier, but he's been on fire. On the Dodgers side, though, Turner, another monster game on Thursday. The dude's hitting like over 400 right now. I'd keep riding that train while you can.
Yeah.
And Chris Taylor's playing really well against lefties right now. So those would be my main two. You never know what lineup they're going to put out, though, because they're resting Betts again on Thursday. It's just one thing after another.
Yeah, it's the Dodgers lineup. We have to double and triple check it all the time. And it's, once again, the late game. So
yeah, I feel like it's the NBA. They're getting days off already. Last but not least, Houston at Seattle, Urquidy versus Kikuchi. Totals 8. This is an interesting one. Like on FanDuel, Urquidy 71, but on DK, he's 10-1. On DK, Kikuchi 72. On FanDuel, he's 88. I'm not paying 10-1 for Urquidy. 71, I'm actually quite intrigued with, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's the biggest gap I've seen so far this year as far as starting pitchers go between the different sites. So I'm with you. You can buy Urquidy on FanDuel, but you can't really buy him on DK.
Yeah,
so
no way I'm paying that on DK. Not a chance.
I like Kikuchi on either site, though.
I love
I'll
Kikuchi.
say that.
I'm glad you said it. I'm going to have him in too many places.
At 7,200, 8,800, especially with the Astros going with this weird COVID lineup as it stands right now. I mean, obviously, we've seen many times things change overnight or in the middle of the day. But as it stands right now, they still got their COVID lineup. So I'm with you on Kikuchi. I like him a lot.
It kind of goes to the Cease comment, especially on DK at 72. He can give up some runs, but he's got such big strikeout upside. We've seen it. He did it in Minnesota against a Mets team that hits lefty as well. I love Kikuchi in this one. So big fan there, which means I'm probably not using a lot of Astros bats. Don't mind some of the cheaper Mariners bats like Marmoleos and going with some Seager and something if you want. But for me, it's pretty much Kikuchi on both sides and Urquidy on FanDuel, and I'm probably going to leave the bats alone in this one.
I kind of like Kyle Seager, 5,000, 3,400. I mean, the Seager brothers are both hitting well right now. Taylor Trammell is a nice cheap option, 3,000, 2,800 as well. So, but I think I'm with you because the pitching looks pretty good in this game. I'll probably avoid the hitting for the most part.
Yeah, the pitching looks good. There's 14 games, so we don't have to get cute everywhere. That's one thing I'll tell people is they try to bite off too much, and that's when you start depleting your overall lineups, one would say. But we'll see. You never know. Good baseball's crazy like that. So much fun. But before we go back and recap things real quick, I want to remind everybody, go check out LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app, at LineStar MLB. Go get the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It's one of the best apps I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because we're on their show. It's really, really good stuff. So I highly recommend checking that out. If you could rate and review the podcast on iTunes, it would help me and Bogman out a ton, and it'd make the guys at LineStar happy. So we'd appreciate that. And also, if you'd like to watch our faces for radio, go to the LineStar YouTube channel, subscribe there, and like all that good stuff. Last but not least, Bogman, who outside of Jacob deGrom, let's take him out of the mix here. Who would be your next best pitcher you'd like to target?
Oh, my next best pitcher I'd like to target probably, honestly, it's probably Kikuchi.
Yep,
because I really want to say, Mats, but the rain scares me. So I think it is Kikuchi is my number 2.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that's fine. The listener should know that Mats is right there if he's in. But I love Kikuchi. I will remind him because I think it's crazy that Urquidy price on FanDuel is very live, live. And then Dylan Cease, keep him in mind. Who would you like to stack up tonight?
For tonight, I think some of the ones we mentioned before. If Toronto plays, I would like them against Mike Minor. I would like the Mets against Colorado and Chichi Gonzalez. I think that's another solid one, and I think those are probably my 2 favorites. If you wanted to stack Minnesota against Heaney, I might be okay with that too.
Yeah, Mets is a given. I'm with you there. Toronto's intriguing. The ones I would go with is give me some Great American Small Park. We talked about that. I like especially that Rosario Ramirez just 1-2 punch, then see what they put in the lineup around that. And then I like Philadelphia versus Carmart. I will attack broken pitchers as long as I can. So I'm a fan there. And speaking of that, Bogman, you hit number 2 on Thursday. Let's win some more free swag, people. So check out, they'll tweet out the home run picks, retweet it, share it, all that good stuff. And if a home run happens, a lucky winner wins some free swag. Bogman, who is your home run call for Friday?
Give me Nelson Cruz against Andrew Heaney. That is who I want to go with. So
love it.
I like that matchup a ton. So let's go, Nelly. Give me another one.
I like it quite a bit. I am going to go with Jose Ramirez in Great American Small Park off of Jeff Hoffman or some scrub in the Cincinnati bullpen. So give me Jose Ramirez in that one.
I love it. Let's go.
Bogman, that'll put another week in the books. Another week of baseball in the books over here at LineStar. It's been awesome, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Hope you guys get some more green screens on Friday. Share all the good stuff. Check me out on Twitter at BDNDrick and Bogman at Bogman Sports. Go check out the LineStar guys once again at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB. And we'll be back with you guys on Monday.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar App On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to linestarapp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support KC, Bubba, and Bogman by rating and subscribing. Good luck.